Okay, so here are our done cranberry sheets. What I ended up doing actually was taking them off of the baking tray because they just weren't drying quick enough for me. And then I wanted to show you what it looks like when you put them straight on the rack in your oven. So when you put them straight on the rack, you end up with these lines. If that's something you enjoy, then that's a good way to do it. I also wanted to show you what happens when you double up on paper, when you, when you double up. Thank you, brain. So this sheet here had a piece of paper here covering it, and this part here, the oven was on and it didn't have a piece of paper on top of it. So that's the gradient difference that you get. And this is why I'm telling you to play around and to enjoy it. So for the last thing that I'm going to show you, it's just food coloring. Now I showed you a pack of the Clubhouse food coloring, but I'm going to be honest, what I have for food coloring is leftover Wilton gel for the people that bake that are good at it, which is not me. My sister-in-law had a bunch of colors she wasn't using anymore and gave them to me, which I was really, really grateful for. So what you can do with that stuff is the jar method, which I've showed you. You can put it straight into the jar, dump paper in there, shake it around, and bake it. I'm going to show you spray bottles though. This creates a much more eclectic look and feel, and you don't have to, you can, but you don't have to bake these. These do dry fairly quickly. Now these are just food dye and water. It is not alcohol. It is not made into an alcohol spray. It's just food dye and water. For what I'm using it for, you don't need to have alcohol in it, but you can if that's what you want. Just make sure if you're making alcohol sprays out of this that you're buying the 99% rubbing alcohol, not the dollar store 70 or 55%, because it's not concentrated enough to do what you want it to do, and it's just going to be a runny, stinky mess. So this method, really simple. If my sprayer decides to work, there we go. So you could totally do that on top of a paper you've already stained. You could do it on the cranberry paper to have bolder purple than what you have originally, just with the cranberry paper. But for all purposes and intents, I'm just going to move that one to the side. I'm going to show you a different way to do it with food coloring. These bottles that I'm using are from Dollar Tree, 2 for $1.25. I only bought a 2-pack of them to see how I like them. They create a really fine mist. This was an old sprayer I found kicking around. I'm shaking them because I haven't used them in a couple of days. This was an old sprayer I had hanging around from, I have no idea why or what, probably my gardening days. And it creates a completely different, much heavier spray. And if you're weird like me, you like lots of different textures. But that's also a lot, and I really hate wasting. So, I take another piece of paper, lay it down on top, and I smooth it out. And it's okay if it comes through. Even this Wilton food coloring does come off with soap and water. Baking tray is still a little bit warm, but obviously not super warm if I can put my hands on it. But the little bit of warmth will totally help our drying time. And you end up with interesting random things like that. Look at how much food coloring I have on my hands. I always pick my daughter up from school with hands like this. I wonder what they think I do all day. And then when you pull it up, it's like, this is such a two-handed job. It's like like an ink blot, because that's pretty much exactly what it is. And I mean, if you really want to go over the top with it, you can put down an extra piece of paper. You can put your paper on the back of that paper on, squeeze it down again. And I kind of like doing this because then I can like rub it around, and again, more texture, more interesting color. It's whatever floats your boat. And that's what this part of this mentoring program is all about to me, is playing around and toying around and seeing what you want to do Ooh, being a nurse, you can totally just liberate some gloves from work. I don't know if you're like me. When I used to work, I'd come home with pockets full of clean gloves. And then you can totally save your hands that way if you want to. Again, like I said, this piece is pretty damp, so if you really wanted to, you could bake it. I don't really care to. And if my colors bleed together when I'm dyeing paper like this, so be it. It's just more interesting. It's something different. Actually, to tell you the truth, what I typically do when I'm paper food dye staining like this is I save a pizza box from when we had pizza the week before, and I do it all in the pizza box. Like I shake out the crumbs, I get rid of it, I open up my pizza box on my stovetop like this, and yes, I do a lot of this stuff on my stovetop, because it's a saran top. If I'm using my heat gun, which I have, I don't have like the cutie little crafter heat gun. My husband bought me mine, so it's from Princess Auto, and it's like a real shrink wrap heat gun, so it gets like really, really, really hot. I use it on my stovetop because it's ceramic and I know it can take the heat. And as you can see from my luck today with all of this, I don't have a lot of luck, so I totally could just end up, you know, warping the countertop of the house that I don't own. And that would probably not please my landlords, although they're very sweet. And you might have guessed already, but this is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful technique to do when using stencils. Stencils! You can totally create texture that way. I still suck at it. I'm still practicing at it. Not everything with me is always a quick learning curve, including stenciling. It was not a quick learning curve for me. I don't know why. Stamping also, like, just, I don't understand my brain. Oh Lord. I sit there sometimes and I'm like, I can deep suction a trach, I can heal wounds, I can do all of this stuff. Why can I not stick a stamp in an ink pad and stick it on a piece of freaking paper and have it work right? I don't know. I don't understand my brain or my life that way. So again, smushing them together, you'll see the purple changed color, and like it's on both sheets. And I have a little bit of blue there, which, like I said, well, one, look at my hands, it's going to be blue. And two, I don't care, I like it. And this is what I go for. I do bright, I do colorful, I do different. I'm not big on vintagey, I'm not big on antiquing. That's just me. It's whatever you feel comfortable with. So yeah, this should get you started. Do it in batches. You don't have to try every single technique all at once. I've been acquiring this stuff for, gosh, 3 months now at least. And like I said, I rock the dollar store. A lot of my supplies, a lot of my basics come from the dollar store. And the only reason why I even have the food coloring that I do is because my sister-in-law gave it to me. Otherwise, I would not be at Michael's spending goodness knows how much on the Wilton food coloring. And yeah, good luck.